Alright, so ready? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah! I'll make my world a better place for myself and those around me. I'll do my best not to think out of ignorance. Bear my eyes and doubts I'm every day and strength. Not sell out myself, I'll be part of the solution, not part of the problem. This specifically tells me tree doesn't make me wood. I'll do my best because I expect your best. Stop reading about things that don't concern me. There's a chance I might get making it. I'm going to show you a clip that I thought was pretty good. I don't think, I'm hoping it's not biased.
Now you're running out of time.
Right. There's a hearing. What's going on in the Senate this week? The ladies being interviewed, Supreme Court nominees being interviewed. I want to play this clip from yesterday. They have been, I mean, it's hours and hours of questions. And these questions, anybody seen any of it? It's been a lot of questions about, I told you yesterday about how she said, I'm not going to tell you how I rule on the case because I can't make up a case and tell you how, does that make sense? She said that. But a lot of questions about her views on stuff and just hours and hours of stuff.
I said for what Biden said, I could have sworn he said he was running for Senate.
This is a mask. It prevents the spread of coronavirus.
As an old guy,
This is not a political statement.
he's running for Senate for 30 years.
It's a mask.
Other thing that I will just note, which I think is going to be an instant meme, John, is the fact that she had no notes. And she was asked by, I think it was Senator John Cornyn, to hold up the notepad in front of her, and it was blank except for the United States Senate kind of stationery that was on it, and that's it.
You know, most of us have multiple notebooks and notes and books and things like that in front of us. Can you hold up what you've been referring to in answering our questions? Is there anything on it?
That letterhead that says United States Senate.
That's impressive.
I think that is going to be.
So what, no matter who this person is, where she comes from, what does that tell you about her? She's capable. She can handle herself. She knows what she's doing. So I think she's in her 40s. She has kids. She would be the first Supreme Court justice to have school-age kids. Y'all know what that means. Y'all are school-age kids. It could be, I'm betting like elementary school, something like, no, maybe junior high. I think she's early to mid-40s, probably mid-40s. Now I want to read you something. I know this is always weird or tough when a teacher reads you something, but I thought this was pretty important. The Coney fight in the full U.S. Senate on the Supreme Court nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett really comes down to one point of contention. It's not the timing. It's not Senate Republicans confirming her in an election year after refusing to confirm Judge Merrick Garland in 2016. It's not COVID-19 or social distancing. No, just one question: are Americans allowed to disagree with the left? And I think the bigger question is: are we allowed to have our own opinions? Which I've told y'all since day one, I think one of the biggest problems we have is if you don't agree with me, you need to shut up and I don't want to hear what you have to say. And that's not America. America is we get to say stuff and we get to figure things out together. Back in the 18th century, which is the 1700s, Boston Puritans and Pennsylvania Quakers and Maryland Catholics, urban New Yorkers, and Appalachian backwoodsmen were as different as Texans and Vermonters and Californians today. Constitutional Convention was organized to devise a system of government that would enable majority rule while practicing minority rights. And we've talked about that. What are they talking about? Majority rule with minority rights. What does that mean?
So the majority has the power, but the minority still.
It has nothing to do with race. It's the people that won the election are going to run the show, but the people that lost still have some say-so and have some rights, like the filibuster. The idea of the Constitution was to take the three traditional forms of government, monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy, and blend them together in such a way that Americans could enjoy the benefits of each while avoiding the downsides of each. Congress is given the most political power, but also the most accountability. 2-year terms in the House and the requirement that both House and the less democratic Senate agree on legislation. And when they say less democratic, they don't mean Democratic Party. They just mean they're 6-year terms, they're spread out, they're less voted on in the House. The presidency was endowed with the strength of executive leadership, decisiveness, especially in international and military affairs, but its powers were strictly limited to prevent its occupant from becoming a tyrant. Federal judges were given lifetime terms to protect courts from political pressure, but they were given only the power to interpret the law, not to make it. Each branch was given certain powers over the other. And of course, the central government's powers were limited too, dwarfed and checked by the broad powers enjoyed by each more homogeneous state. The system of checks and balances was designed for our nation by people who were fully aware of how diverse we were culturally, religiously, economically, and politically. It was an unprecedented attempt to allow different people to come together as one nation while respecting and tolerating each other's differences, to empower our myriad interwoven majorities and minorities to pursue their happiness according to their own values and priorities. It's the Constitution that protects our rights to happily, freely disagree. And this is an opinion piece. Alright, so when you say right and left, what are we talking about?
Democrats and Republicans.
Conservatives and liberals. Conservatives are considered left wing. Liberals are left wing, conservatives are right wing. In overwhelming years, the hard left has morphed into a political movement trying to persuade citizens to a religious movement bent on hunting heretics. You know what heretics are? Heresy. Heresy. Okay. Let me make sure I won't say this wrong. If you're a heretic, here's the actual definition of it. A professed believer who maintains religious opinions contrary to those accepted by his or her church or rejects doctrines prescribed by that church, willfully and persistently rejects any article of faith. Right. Now, an overwhelming control of the news media, our education system, popular culture, professional athletics, corporate boardrooms, big tech in particular, the left increasingly operates like an elite mob, threatening the reputation and livelihoods of anyone daring to disagree. Pro-life, you hate women. Religious traditionalists, homophobic. Dislike illegal immigrants, racist. Support welfare reform, racist again, and you hate the poor. Do you like the Senate or the Electoral College or stand for the national anthem? Probably a white supremacist. Believe there are two sexes corresponding to one's genetics, hate speech. Believe the United States was founded in 1776, white nationalists. Well, keep that. Okay, all right. You should be working on some school stuff. He sometimes does. Hey, send Hope a message and tell Mr. Fletcher's trying to get hold of him. I'll play with him once he gets back. Tell him to call Mr. Fletcher at 5069 969 All right, we'll try. Bye. Good job. Now, could you say, flip side of it? What's your,
506.9.
is it
5069.
5069? Yes. Could you say that real right-wing people, if you believe we need immigration reform, would say, well, you're anti-American, I mean, both sides can kind of do the same kind of deal. Believe we can mitigate the risks of climate change through technological innovation, you might as well believe the earth is flat, so on and so on. To too many on the left today, religion is hate, superstition is science, freedom is oppression, lies are truth, the rule of law is bigotry, the Constitution is evil, and America is America's racist. For them, the whole point of the unaccountable power of the Supreme Court is to allow progressive justices to impose their values on every business, church, school, charity. All right. The point he's making here, and you, like I said, you can flip it to right or left, conservative, liberal. We don't let people have their opinion. You're not allowed to have an opinion that's different from mine. And I think that's destroying us. I know it's Congress is jacked because no one lets the other side have their point of view. And that's not America. I like to like what you have to say, I kind of need to listen to it, and then we can sit down and try to figure something out. You know, instead of I'm completely right and you're completely wrong no matter what. You know, meanwhile we're sitting here going to work and having to deal with their mess. And now we can question whether or not the timing is okay with this Supreme Court later. You know, the election's 3 weeks away. If this was President Obama, the Republicans would be saying, no, there's no way we can do this. There's elections coming up. We need to wait. Matter of fact, they have done that. So I don't blame the Democrats for saying that, but does that make sense? But nobody, that's what I'm trying to do. Nobody, we're not consistent. If it benefits me, here's how I want it. But if it doesn't benefit me, it can't go that way. And that's why human beings mess everything up. Anyway, all right. I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg wasn't qualified to be a Supreme Court justice. I don't agree with a lot of her points of view, but she's qualified to be a Supreme Court justice. Just like I believe this lady is qualified to be a Supreme Court justice. I think she's caught at the wrong time, wrong place. You know, I think the guy even said, the CNN guy, who's not a pro-Trump guy, said, he kind of said, I feel sorry for her, it's kind of the timing of this. She is obviously qualified, but this has become a political deal. Her getting it? She'll get it, because Republicans have a 51 majority, and it's a 51 vote to make her Supreme Court justice. But I feel sorry for her, because she'll get on there, and she'll forever be that person who shouldn't be there to a lot of people. You know what I mean? But I just, from hearing what I've heard, she seems extremely intelligent, very personable, very kind, just seems like a really good person. I think she'd be a really good judge. All right, let's finish this up that we started yesterday. I'm so excited. I had a few people confused yesterday. We are not having a test Friday. It's going to be next week sometime. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday. Yeah, oh wow. Pass these around if you don't mind. This is for the annual. You can do this. You don't have to do this. It's for the annual. What advice you give to.
You gave us an extra.
Maybe extra. I just dumped them out there. Not enough?
You did that email. You did that email.
Did they not get it?
Oh, extra.
Basically, that's weird. I guess.
No, like 8th grade.
Bless you. Just slide them up. Doesn't have to be a book. I'm gonna read Gracie's out loud. Believe it or not, I don't either. This is my job. If I'm not doing this, I go hide in the corner, I don't stand and talk to people. I'm a bad about put my head down and just duck and hide.
We're supposed to put our names on?
Yes. Just, if you put me in, it'll record you.
It's not my shirt.
Especially because pretty creative.
I tried to educate people yesterday. I always try to educate people. You don't have to like the Packers, I just try to explain what they are and what it means, because people just don't get it. And every time I do, they go, no way, really? No owner. And they just go, what? Huh? There's no owner. Nobody gets rich. Hmm?
There's a bunch of people that share.
That's right. Like Colton M. O'Reilly and Pacer Kinnick Riley. Kinnick.
Yeah, remember the Kinnick Stadium?
Kinnick Stadium. What? Oh. I bet that doesn't get it. Not a big deal. All right. How many members in the House? Y'all know that?
535.
435 in the House. 535 overall. 435 in the House. Number 8, we're not going to answer that one. I just want you to know there are people in the House of Representatives that don't vote. They come from places like, if you want to write this down, I know some of y'all are like OCD and you have to have 4 places written down or else I can't move on, I won't be able to think about it. Puerto Rico is one of those places. U.S. Virgin Islands.
The District of Columbia, if you want.
Guam. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. But what do these places all have in common? They're not states. They're U.S. territories. And they get to discuss things and add their points of view. They don't get to vote because they are not a state. They represent U.S. citizens, but they don't get to vote because they're not in the state. They're not a state. I know Puerto Rico has a couple times been given the chance to become, and they've said no thanks. And I don't know what difference that makes.
They just don't want to call themselves.
I don't know. Because it's not like they get special. I don't know that anything would change for them other than they probably would have more say so. I don't know. So Guam is all of it. That's the place. It's a little island out in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific. And you know those little coins they try to get you to buy? 1% pure gold leaf. You know, and the limit 5 per customer. You know what I'm talking about, the little late night. Yeah, there's that one. There's all kinds of stuff they try. That's where those coins are called the actual money. So Guam, and that's a fun word to say, Guam.
Wait, so if you were born in one of those places?
You're a U.S. citizen. You're a U.S. citizen. So all I want you to know is there are people in the House from the U.S. territories. So they have representation, but they can't vote. How many people are in the Senate? There's 100. And we mentioned this, but we didn't officially talk about it. There's 100 senators. They all have how long is their terms? 6 years.
Too long.
Right? They're not all up for re-election at the same time.
Oh, yeah, staggered.
They are staggered. I'm sure I misspelled that. And I'm not going to tell you this is exact fact, but what I heard was, I've always heard this, when they first elected the Senate, they all drew straws. And depending on what kind of straw you drew, short, medium, or long, that determined how long your term was. So some of them were 2-year terms, some of them were 4-year terms, some of them were 6-year terms, and that's how they started it. And then as they added states, I don't know how that all worked, but right now, there is anywhere from 32 to 33 senators that are up for election. There's 32 to 33 that have 2 more years to go, and there's 32, 33 that have 4 years to go. So at any given election year, 2/3 are coming back. 1/3 is up for election.
And usually they get reelected.
They usually do. Number one, we've heard of them before. And they can say, look what I've done. And the person running against them, you may never have heard of them before. They are called a continuous body. Because they don't end. They don't start over. 2/3 are coming back. The House starts over every 2 years because all of them are up for re-election. So they set everything up again, start over. Even if most of them get re-elected, they still start over. The Senate doesn't start over because most of them are coming back. Does that kind of make sense? All right.
So do you think it'd be easier to get in the House, in the Senate?
Depends. If you are running for representative in Wyoming, there's only one representative from Wyoming. There's 2 senators. Now Texas, there's 2 senators, and there's 36 representatives, but you only come from your district. And you do have to live where you represent. I think, are we gonna do that today? Maybe next
What's
week.
about the Waters, Justine Waters or whatever? You know what I'm talking
I
about?
saw, yeah, she,
The campaign ad,
is she from Houston?
something like that, and then there's a guy that's running against her who did his campaign advertisement on her front porch at her mansion.
I heard about that,
That's
yes.
not even in the district.
I heard about that, yes, yes. I will tell you this, be very careful of getting your facts from campaign commercials, because they are notorious for getting things not exactly right. I learned anything about that.
I was just watching.
Right, but, I showed you the presidential commercial. That's what they all are. My opponent loves thunderstorms. I mean, that's pretty much, whenever they show their opponent, it's always like black and white. And the voice gets like this. You know, and then for them, it's birds tweeting and sunshine and happiness and, okay, the House. Why is the House more closely linked to the people? They represent smaller groups, except for Wyoming. They represent their people, and how long are their terms? 2 years. For the most part, they're representing a specific part of their state. And they have 2-year terms. Senators represent the entire state. And they have 6-year terms. You know, I told you at a college, if you play on a football team, your position coach has a lot stronger personal relationship with you than the head coach. The head coach is standoffish. The head coach is in their office. The head coach is in the tower. There's not a lot of personal interaction between the head coach and the players. Some teams there is, but the position coach sees you every day and interacts with you every day. That's kind of like the house. And then the Senate is the coach up in the tower. Kind of separated. I told you I thought about moving to Rhode Island to be a senator. Just figured I would stand out. That'd be good or bad. But you'd have to wear a suit. I have thought about being a senator like for retirement. But you have to wear a suit. I'm out. And they wouldn't accept me anyway, because I have like common sense. You know, they wouldn't like that one bit. Who's this guy? You know? I'd be Mr. Smith. They would hate me. Yes, yes, yes. What do you think? You know, I'd get in the paper and say stuff. I wouldn't punch people, I don't think. I hope not. Okay, only Congress has the power to, I put appropriation there. What do you remember about appropriation? What does an appropriations bill do? That's reapportionment. Spends taxpayer money. So only Congress is able to what? Spend taxpayers' money. Congress writes the checks. The president cannot write a check. Out of their account they can. The president can't say we're spending money on this. Is that good? Forget a name of a president, just the office of president. Is it good that the president cannot spend money? Yes. This group of people that represents all of us spends the money. Now, right now, they're a bunch of idiots. And they have been for a long time. But Congress writes the checks. The president can't write the checks. The president can say, Mother, may I? Remember the game? Walk 3 steps. Mother, may I? Yes. You know, the president has to ask, Mother, may I please spend billions and billions of dollars? You know, and then they say yes or no. Now, Congress, there's one thing Congress is not allowed to do in terms of spending money. And this is good. They are not allowed to lower presidents or judges' salary. Congress is not allowed to lower the salary of the president or of judges.
You can't lower Trump's salary.
You can't. No, it'd be 50 cents.
Yeah.
Why is that significant? Why would Congress lower a judge's salary or lower the president's salary? They cannot punish them for what they don't like them doing. So Congress cannot do that to them. They could vote to lower the president's salary, but it wouldn't go into effect until after the election. I told you the president makes $400,000 a year. Now for y'all, that's a ton of money. Isn't that a ton of money to be president? And until 2000, it was $200,000 a year. Let's see, I want to go for a job where I can do nothing I want to do. I have no more freedom and I could get killed at any moment. And my kids could get killed. Sure, I'll sign that. Yeah, that's awesome. And no time off. Great, yeah, I'll do that. And everybody hates you. Oh, yes, woo! And wear a suit. Oh, ooh, everything just gets worse and worse and worse. I'd rather be killed than wear a suit.
But you get a bowling alley.
I think they took that out. Then when we get to the president, they do allow usually the president to put something in the White House that they like. Because they're stuck there. That's their prison. They at least get something. And they can watch movies. They will bring movies to them. Which, you're still stuck there.
Brad would have a game room.
You know, I would want a weight room. I'd put a weight room up in there. That'd be awesome. It might be, I don't know. I want a good one though. I think I want a squat rack. I don't see many presidents squat. You know, I want a real squat rack with one. They have like the weight machine. They got Bowflex is what they got. I don't want a Bowflex. I would want, okay, I'd want a pool with a little hot tub, and I want a slide coming out of like the top window. You know, just something good.
I'm putting her up.
Trinity's not impressed with the slide from out of the window. She looks sad. All I see, this is so, because all I see is this from them.
Just around the pool watching.
I can't tell if anything good or bad. Either.
Secret Service just said
I can't tell what's going on. All right. This goes along with what's happening in the Senate right now. 14. All presidential powers. Everything the president can do is subject to what? That's the only time I'm going to say the word may, except for the month.
Mother may
What does that mean? Of who? Who do you got to ask permission? Congress. President has picked this lady, and I do not mean that derogatory at all. Don't take that as derogatory. I usually forget her name. Barrett, Miss Barrett, Mrs. Barrett. I know that's offensive to some people, but anyway. How dare you say Mrs. I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore. I just don't know how to act. I don't know what to say. I never mean anything by it. Whatever I'm doing or saying, I really never mean anything by it. And it's on tape and going out to the world. So, you know, I expect to be on the news at any time this year. I really can't wait. I think it'll be awesome. So they come blasting in here and swarm. Tell the world. Anyway, patient's crying. No, you can't do it. I was like, yeah. I probably won't get paid anymore, so
Probably see all of us.
no food. Hotness. Okay. And I put on there liberal and conservative. Why'd I do that? Who? Okay. Nancy Pelosi. Donald Trump. Is she ever going to do anything he wants? No. Is he ever going to do anything she wants? No. Now let's say President Biden and I don't know, Mitch McConnell, the majority leader in the Senate. Is he ever going to do what he wants? Is that what the people who wrote the Constitution meant? No. We got to at some point, we don't have to agree, and you don't even have to want to do it, but we got to be willing to sit at the table and at least let them talk before we say, you're an idiot, we're not doing that. You know? So the president does have to have Congress permission. They have to go through Congress for everything. We've done this before, huge review. Y'all know what this is going on. What is impeachment? Accused. And it could be the president, vice president, or judges.
So, would there be like ever a time where the president's not guilty, the vice president is, and they could just impeach the vice president?
I guess there could be. I mean, it'd be weird. Because really, vice president, all they do, bang the gavel at the Senate. I told you that's the best gig in Washington. If the president doesn't want you involved in stuff, all you do is go bang the gavel at the Senate, go play golf, live in your little house, and I guess wear a tie every once in a while. Go to funerals. You have to go to, like, if the Queen of Ireland, I don't even know if that exists, if she dies, then they send the vice president to go and represent America at the funeral.
So the vice president just does pretty much whatever he wants.
It depends. If sometimes the president has you do a bunch, you're like, oh man, you know. Sometimes you're just there to get the president elected, and then they tell you go. That's what Johnson. They said, go away. You're bothering me. Get away. All right, the House Judiciary Committee. What is the House Judiciary Committee in an impeachment? Prosecuting attorney. They are the prosecuting attorney. And what's their job? What do? Not the defense attorney. The prosecuting attorney accuses, proves guilt. They gather evidence and try to prove guilt. Yeah. Guess what? On the chance to do good, I'm going to have you list these 4 things out and tell me what they do in an impeachment. But this is also what they do in a trial, regular trial. What does the House do?
Sends it to the Senate, right?
Okay. They decide if there's going to be a trial or not. What part of a trial is that?
Whether he's guilty or not.
Not yet. Grand jury. Trial or not. They do not determine guilt or innocence. Only if there's a trial or not. And the prosecuting attorney will report to the House what they found and say, yeah, we need to have a trial here. Just like if you ever get arrested, the district attorney will go to the grand jury and say, Mr. Ryle needs to go to trial for the way he treated his dad. Stole this from him, stole this stuff all his life. I wonder what the outcome's going to be. All right, the Senate. What's the Senate in impeachment? Determined. They are the jury. They decide if they're guilty or innocent. This morning. Not comfort. And what's the last element of a trial? Judge. Who is the judge?
Vice President.
Vice President, if it's a judge. Or, unless it's the President or Vice President. If it's the President or Vice President, who steps in as the judge? Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Would you want the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court if it was a judge? No, because they might be biased there. The Constitution does say what the president can be impeached for. And it can't be because we don't like you. It can't be because you look funny and you have a funny haircut. It can't be. Why?
Lying under oath.
That can't be. Okay, that's high crimes and misdemeanors. That means something illegal. They have to have broken the law. Broken the law or broken the Constitution. I just don't get the haircut. I don't understand the haircut. You know what I'm saying? That just,
Donald?
yes, I don't get it. That just is, it's, at this point, it's just to make a point. That I can look like this and function as a human being. It's in your face. You don't like my haircut? Great. I don't want you to like it. How does it not when the wind blows? How much shellac is in that when the wind? It doesn't look like there's stuff in it when the wind blows. It doesn't. It moves, but it doesn't move.
It all moves in one
It
spot.
moves, but it's there. But like the comb over starts here.
You ever watch the Jimmy Fallon when he lets him scrunch up his hair?
Oh, yeah.
And he goes crazy. I think it's because he's like almost kind of bald because it looks like super thin when he
And
does.
I've known of Donald Trump since the late 70s. And
He's always
maybe
been there.
not, it's always been some form of that. But it's gotten ridiculous the last 5 years. I mean, just the way that it's, you look up wave in the dictionary, it's got his picture. I just, wow. Huh. All right, get your phone out. Get your phone out. Now, get your phone out and look at it. And push buttons on it. We don't have buttons, Cutter. Whatever. Look up how many judges have been impeached. How many judges have been impeached? Look at Cutler not paying attention, not taking our pass.
15.
You
15.
thought. You thought.
I thought it was 0.
No, it's not 0. Was it?
Yeah.
In history? Or is that just is it true? Okay.
She would.
Okay.
Only 8 have been convicted. 3 others.
Yeah. Historical treatment judges, 15 federal judges have been
15 they got impeached, but only 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care that you write that down. What's the point of this? I just want you to see that judges get impeached. And they get impeached a lot more than presidents. Okay? So like we can say 15, I don't care, a bunch of them, 3 presidents have been impeached. When I first wrote this thing out, only 2 presidents had been impeached. I'm going to make a prediction. If Donald Trump wins the president again, he'll be the only president ever to get impeached more than once. You think I'm safe on that? I'll bet my salary on that. If Nancy Pelosi is still around, if she's still Speaker of the House, then he will be impeached again if he's president. I don't know. I think so. They'll find something. Nancy Pelosi, all right? What? Nancy Pelosi is Becky Durham. And I was Donald Trump in 2nd grade. I was in complete control of her. I could make her do whatever I wanted because she would get so mad at the rules being broken. She was the tattler. And whenever, I told you this before, whenever the rule was 2 people can't stand up, no more than 2 could stand up at a time. And I would spend my whole day drawing Batman and Speed Racer and watching Becky Durham and seeing how many people were up. And as soon as 2 people stood up, I would stand up and just look right at her. And she'd start shaking. Miss Cozy, he's standing up. And she'd just freak out. And I would go, oh, I'm so sorry, I will sit back down. You know, that's exactly, he just, she's like, Donald Trump is bringing it. You know, and she just freaks out over it, you know. Yesterday, she even said, she told Wolf Blitzer of CNN, and she told, I forget her name, famous lady from NPR, National Public Radio, not liberal, I mean, not conservative at all, that they were both, what's the word she used? She said that they were basically working for Donald Trump. Said, y'all are propping him up. Wolf Blitzer and NPR are on Donald Trump's side? Are you kidding me? What? It would be fun if it wasn't real. To override a presidential veto, what does it take?
All 3 of them go.
2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate. Now, what do I mean by writing it like that? It's not 2/3 of the House and Senate. 2/3 of the House and the Senate. It wouldn't be 2/3 of the senior votes. It would be 2/3 of this class and 2/3 of the next class. And so every class would have to be 2/3 vote, not 2/3 overall. All right, Congress's oversight. Last one. Congress's oversight power. This is what happened. This is what is happening right now with Judge Barrett. The Senate has oversight over presidential appointments. They get to determine whether the person is okay or not. The president appoints somebody. The Senate gets to review that person. They have oversight powers over that person and check them out. Check them out. The Senate checks them out, makes sure they're okay. Today, what has that become? Is it to see if they're okay to do the job?
Yeah.
It's, well, did Barack Obama pick them? If he did, then this person says they're a piece of garbage. This person says they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. If President Trump picks them, they flip. And this person says they're horrible, despicable, and this person says, no, they're great, they're amazing. Which is not the point. That's not why they're there. All right, now hang tight. Thanks a lot.